Hey, welcome back to our channel, Eye to Eye, Disney Through Our Eyes. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Kyle.
And today we have another special edition of Eye to Eye. We're going to be discussing the new teaser trailer for Star Wars The Last Jedi that came out today.
And on a scale of 1 to 10, how confused are you right now?
Is 10 the most confused or the least confused?
The most.
Probably a 7.5.
That's better than I thought it was going to be.
So why don't we start there with my level of confusion? Because I am still a novice.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a long video, y'all.
I'm still a novice in the Star Wars realm. I just watched them in 2015 for the first time, all 6 at that time. And before that, I thought Luke and Leia were lovers, not siblings. So this will be fun.
Oh yeah, yeah. And then your cheat sheet
Oh
here.
yeah, so I had to make notes on the back of my grocery list.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So Kyle had to help me remember what movies happened with what. So I was a little confused with what The Last Jedi was going to be. So let's start with the opening scene.
Yeah. So the opening scene is really... I was confused, honestly, with it because I thought it was a star field because there are a few specks in the darkness that arose out, and all of a sudden you realize it's a rock formation, and it's Rey gasping for air on the ground. And I noticed in the background what looked like a cave.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you remember this or not, but in episode 5, which should be kind of the mirror image for this one, this is the...
What's episode 5?
Episode 5.
Okay, I got it.
It is where Luke goes into a cave on Dagobah with Yoda when he's training with him and encounters an apparition of Darth Vader. It's kind of like his first test. So I wonder if Rey just went through her first test in a cave on whatever, I forgot the name of the planet. And I think that's why she's gasping there. What was your first initial reaction to the opening scene?
I don't even want to tell you.
Oh no, I gotta know. We have to know.
I thought it was brains. And I thought it was like her brain, and then it like panned out, and then it was her.
Oh my gosh. It's not that graphic in Star Wars. I mean, people lose their limbs, but it's always like, you know.
So, you know, like, you know when you're in school
Yeah.
and they make you learn a foreign language, and when you're trying to learn it, you ask your teacher to speak very slowly and deliberately? That's how I feel about right now.
Okay.
Like, you're saying all of these words, like, Yoda is the only word that I knew in what you just said about that city and stuff. So, okay, moving on.
Okay.
Then we have a different scene.
It's more shots of the planet where we last saw Luke and Rey, and we're supposedly going to assume that he is training her to be a Jedi.
Correct.
However, something that is said at the end of this trailer, which we'll get to in a second, is kind of contradictory to that, because the title of this movie is The Last Jedi, and he goes to this planet and is in an exile or just trying to keep himself off from the world, that being Luke. And then Rey shows up there with him. We see some scenes of her wielding the lightsaber on a hill with him overlooking and watching her. And I think the most important part of this trailer is the voiceovers where we see some snippets of the film. And we hear Luke say, "What do you see?" He's asking Rey after he's tried to calm her down, "What do you see?" And she says, "I see the light." And which is
Leia.
We see the backside of Leia. So
which I did not know that was who.
Well, we can assume it's Leia. It looks kind of like her. And then do you remember what we heard in the background when they show her?
She's saying her famous line.
Yeah, from
the "Help me, Obi-Wan."
Yeah, it's like just a very thin little faint there. You have to. I didn't hear it until the second time we watched this.
So, fun fact: when I was growing up, my brother had this little game, and it was a pod racer. That's the thing, right?
Yeah, yes, that is a pod racer.
And it was like you pressed the buttons, and it was like memory sounds.
Yeah.
And one of the sounds that you had to match was "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi," and you'd press it, and then you try to find the other ones, and they were all these other weird
What
sounds.
episode is pod racing from?
Okay.
No cheating. No cheating.
5.
We're gonna move on.
That was wrong.
That was so wrong. Episode
what
1.
episode?
The Phantom Menace.
Oh.
Anyway.
Well.
So we're talking about the voiceovers. Leia is when we hear Rey say, "I see the light," and then I see darkness. What do we see?
And then we see Darth Vader's mask, and it's like all...
It's like crumbled up.
it's like in pieces.
Yeah, and we saw it in the trailer for The Force Awakens episode 7, but it was kind of melted, from him.
Right, but now it's truly like broken.
So I wonder if that's symbolism too. Is that saying something about... I know.
Good job, man. You're getting deep.
I'm getting deep. So first we saw it melted. Now we see it kind of crumbled and broken almost to pieces.
Because the First Order and the Resistance are going to crumble apart.
Well, not if you are...
I thought I'd learned something.
If you follow the line of thinking from the original trilogy, episode 5 is where the Empire, the bad guys, gain the upper hand. So I'm inclined to think that
my notes aren't helping me anymore.
The First Order is going to gain the upper hand here as well. And some of the shots that you see in the trailer also
Pause. The First Order is bad.
The First Order is bad.
Okay.
The Resistance is good.
Okay.
We're slowly getting there. Remember, all the R's are good.
R equals good. Okay.
Yeah. The Republic, the Rebels,
and the Rebellion. Oh.
And the Resistance. We're working on it.
I apologize. So one day we're going to talk about a movie like Lion King or something that I can understand the symbolism and all that junk.
Well, you're getting there slowly but surely. So the last thing that Luke says after he's, or not Luke, but Rey says, "I see a balance," and then you hear Luke say, "But it's so much bigger than that."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, is this a difference in the Force that we've never heard about? Because we always talked about the light and the dark, and it's always talked about trying to find a balance. But what's beyond the balance? What's Luke found in his exile that is bigger than
and it is kind of interesting. You made a good point when we were talking about this before, that so here's Luke stuck in the middle between his sister, who's inherently good, and then his father, who undoubtedly is this horrible being.
Or not just, Anakin he began as a good person and then was corrupted.
Correct.
But the Darth Vader, his father, the Darth Vader, was awful, yes.
Yes. Well, and I guess that's true. So when Luke and Leia were created, I guess, Anakin wasn't bad.
Well, he wasn't bad when they were created, right. I guess, when they were conceived.
But then when Padme's pregnant and when he's moving on, Anakin becomes awful. And the whole premise of that was, saving Padme. But then he becomes bad. So by the time that Luke and Leia are born, he's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And so that's all that Luke knows is this bad guy being his father.
Yeah. And I think
Leia being good.
I think my point there was with the Leia and the Darth Vader thing is it looks like Leia's all good, Darth Vader's all bad. And Luke is found somewhere in the middle beyond just the balance of the two. He has become maybe, or at least grasp what it means to be in balance and beyond with the Force.
Or maybe he's grasping that they're not all that they seem.
Yeah.
Maybe Leia's not inherently all good. And maybe Darth Vader's not...
I'm surprised. Look at you.
The girl who doesn't even own a Star Wars shirt.
You heard it here first. Maybe Leia is not all that she seems.
I'm just saying. And it will be interesting. So we haven't talked about this. It'll be interesting as to how they portray Leia now that Carrie Fisher has passed on.
Yeah, and I wonder if we'll see cuts in the film where they clearly change things that are going to be more sensitive to the fact that she's gone now, and maybe they have to kind of lessen her role.
Right.
But let's talk about what Luke says at the end of the trailer. The Jedi have to end. I think this is the full saying. He says, "I know one truth: the Jedi must end," or some version of that. What do you think that means?
I can see two things. Okay. Either the inherently obvious of no more Jedi.
Yeah.
Or that, because remember in the last movie, in The Force Awakens, Jessica got smarts and I got cheat notes. Where Rey says something about she has the Force inside of her.
Yeah.
And she's not a Jedi, but she has the Force. So maybe this is like, and there were all of those other people, like the blind guy that was doing all that stuff that has the Force.
Chirrut from Rogue One, yeah.
Him, yes.
Yeah.
But they are not trained Jedi. So maybe this is going to be like a recruitment of people to not necessarily become Jedi, but that have that, I guess, the power within them without it being taught to them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
It's kind of
cloudy,
but...
I almost wonder, did the Jedi end with Luke? And
I would assume.
And the better question is, and you pointed this out, the red of the Last Jedi logo. When I see red...
It stresses me out, man.
I think blood. I think death.
I think my job.
So, bringing it all in. So what do you think? Does Luke die based on what you saw in this trailer?
Of course. I think he has to.
I'm on the fence
because
with it.
What's-his-face died in The Force Awakens.
I mean, just because Han died in the film doesn't mean that we have to knock them off one by one.
Well, I mean, I think as the creators of this film also, we have to think, okay, well, Carrie Fisher passed in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, we all know that we all die.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, maybe, I don't know who plays Luke, actually. Please help me.
Mark Hamill.
Okay, well, maybe he doesn't want to continue this film, or maybe he's decided that he's too old for this, or whatever. Maybe they need to kill him off.
Not.
Well, I'm just saying, like, maybe it is Luke's time. So, because the whole purpose of this Force Awakens, Last Jedi, can blah, 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 blah. The whole purpose of it was to have a new Star Wars, correct?
Correct.
So, to have new, we kind of have to learn from the old, but get rid of the old.
I don't disagree with that. I just don't want it to be true.
So, I think it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
I think that the people who enjoyed the original Star Wars, like my mom and your mom, it's now a new generation of people who are enjoying this.
Right.
It's our generation and our children, you know, the people that have kids of our generation. These are new people that can enjoy Star Wars, and it's got to be new.
Yeah.
It can't be the same story every time. Whereas I think we've seen kind of the same stories in a couple of these.
Yeah, definitely with 7, it mirrored 4 a lot.
For sure. Even I knew that. And I don't know a lot. But I'm just saying, I think it's time.
Okay. Well, here's my question to you to kind of summarize and wrap up our discussion of this teaser trailer. What is your one moment from this trailer that's your favorite? If you had to say, when I think of this trailer and the first time I saw it for episode 8, what sticks out to you?
Luke and Rey on the side of the mountain doing their Jedi things with their swords. And
I think that's a great choice right there.
lightsabers, not swords.
It's the same thing, but not
I
really.
think we're going to get some comments saying it's not the same thing.
Please direct your comments at...
It's not my fault.
I think the iconic shot for me is really going to be... I'm almost wondering what that bookshelf was.
The bookshelf was the book that Luke pulled down and opens it, and it's got the rebellion sign, and that's what he's circling, and he opens it.
I know, but like, what is this book? Like, it's something that we haven't heard of. So that, to me, when I think of... I have questions when I see this trailer, and my questions revolve around what does Luke know, and what is in those books on that bookshelf? And that's what I'm going to remember, because it just doesn't seem like something I've seen in Star Wars before.
Okay.
So, what we want to know from you guys is what you did and didn't like. If you didn't like anything from this trailer. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? So go see it right now. Don't listen to us yammer on about it. Also, in the comments below, let us know what you thought about our video here. And we'd be happy to talk to you guys about it as well. And if you haven't had a chance to check out our other videos on our channel, please do so. And also, what can they do?
Be sure to like and subscribe if you're not already subscribed.
And till next time, we'll see you guys real soon.
Bye.
Bye.